Hey guys, this is video number 2, and we're going to be talking about how to launch your personal brand. If you missed video 1 for any reason at all, make sure you go back and watch it. Video number 2 is on launching your personal brand with the key emphasis first focusing on hangout hotspots. Now, a hangout hotspot is essentially where your target audience that we've already talked about in the last video, your target audience is hanging out in places like social media. Are they more on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn? What are they ultimately reading? Publications? Do they like Forbes, Inc., Entrepreneur, Fast Company? You want to know where your target audience is hanging out in all facets, in real life. Events. What events are they attending? Are they going to certain conferences, networking events? Do they have masterminds or associations or galas? Whatever your target audience is, figure out all the places that's their hangout hotspot, both online and in person. Again, identifying social media, publications, podcasts. What podcasts are they listening to? What events are they attending? And ultimately, influencers. What influencers do they follow? Now, the reason why, if you're jumping ahead here, you want to know where they're hanging out, your target audience, is because ultimately, if we know the social media, the influencers they follow, the events, podcasts, and publications that they're reading and hanging out on and listening to, we know that we can then target and infiltrate ourselves, our personal brand, and our content into those specific places, therefore having you be more heard and identified from your audience. Distribution hotspots. This is very similar, except hangout hotspots is knowing where they're reading, listening to, and hanging out. Distribution hotspots is sort of now from that, where can we distribute our content and our value-added offers through different distribution points. For example, what people, meaning joint ventures, affiliates, influencers, ultimately can potentially align with you and your personal brand and your offer, and then therefore creating a win-win not only for you and them from a business standpoint, but also creating, more importantly, a win for their audience. This is very powerful as we get into the next page on monetizing your personal brand, and then ultimately the last video for scaling your personal brand. Having distribution for those things is crucial. So again, distribution hotspots for your target audience. What people ultimately can distribute your content to your target audience? What events can you attend, speak at, sponsor, get a booth that can distribute to your target audience? What companies, this is an interesting one, what companies maybe have your target audience? For example, a new distribution hotspot for us has become corporations. We found out that there's a hotspot of corporations that have lots of millennial employees that are struggling with a variety of different opportunities and problems, so to speak, that we and our content and our company's offers can provide value through. We do it in a lot of different ways, but we found that a new one is companies. There could also be startup companies that ultimately need your help or are your target audience. Ultimately, we go back to social media consistently. That's huge. What social media channels and platforms should you be on and putting your content on consistently to be distributing out to your target audience? Again, podcasts and publications, because podcasts and publications and social media is an amazing way that we help build our 6-figure company. And now beyond, when we get into scaling, those platforms work for 7- and 8-figure businesses as you grow. So super simple, identify where they're hanging out, your target audience, and identify what distribution platforms and places and people and events you can distribute your content through. You got to have a strong website, guys. When you're launching your personal brand, you may think, okay, well, I don't have a lot of maybe financial capital to build a strong website. That's okay. You can actually get websites built by outsourcing them to the Philippines and Indonesia and lots of other places you can outsource, even in America. You can outsource and get amazing websites built and developed for you that have everything you need on them for a couple $100. That sounds pretty crazy. We help people build strong websites in our VIP days, and we show you the only 2 different websites that you should have when it comes to your personal brand or your business. Having a strong website is pretty easy, guys. The first thing you want to do is have a clear purpose. I said there was only 2 real websites you should have for your personal brand, and those 2 different websites are this. One, you should have a website which clear intention and purpose, similar to ours, is specifically when somebody lands on your website because they looked you up, the purpose and intention of your website, and when people come to it, is for them to give you their email or their phone number so you can consistently send them value and educate them, and by adding value, earn their trust and ultimately get them to eventually want to buy and invest in your products or services. The other type of website is purely about information. Here's who we are, here's what we do, and here's why we do what we do. And then if they're interested, here's our products and services. So have a clear purpose. Most likely for your personal brand, you either want to have one of those 2. One that's just purely information. Here's why we do, and how we do it. And then the next one is purely when traffic goes to your website, there's a reason, a clear, very powerful value proposition that says, here's why you should give us your phone number or your email or reach out to us, because we have a lot of value or a special free thing we want to send you. Next thing is perception. When it comes to a website, when it comes to anything about your personal brand, what is the first perception? Now, it shouldn't be just your idea of, well, here's how I perceive our website or ourself or whatever. You want to get everybody's outside opinion. So ultimately, what I would recommend is your current customers or clients. If you don't have them, then you got friends, you got family, you got colleagues. You can do cold traffic tests to your website and have people take a survey about how did you perceive our website? Was it easy user interface? And you want to get unbiased opinions of people saying, look, we thought your website was incredible. We felt that it was these, and these things. It was luxurious. It was powerful. It was strong. It was well positioned. It was, easier for people to understand what the product is. It was clean. It looked like it was eco-friendly. It looked like it was about giving back. Have a clear perception that not just you think it is, but other people have validated. We do also align that the perception of your website is X, Y, and Z. Then user interface I touched on. You want to make it easy, guys. Nowadays, if you or I or anybody goes to a website and it's cluttered and there's stuff everywhere on the sidebar and you don't know where to go, people are going to leave. Your bounce rate is going to be extremely high, meaning when somebody comes to your website, they stay for a couple seconds and they bounce out. So have a clean, simple user interface. Again, going back to the purpose, if you know what the purpose of your website is, it should be very simple. Right when the person lands on your page, if they don't have to scroll down, whatever's on the first piece of your page, that's called above the fold. Below the fold is as they scroll down. Above the fold is what they land on immediately. That is probably the most important real estate on your website. Right when somebody goes to your website and presses enter, whatever it takes them to, that's the most important real estate, and that needs to be very, very specifically utilized for the purpose of your website. Then we go over here to lead capture. This is simple. This is ultimately like if you looked at our website, which maybe this is how you even got these videos, you saw that when you landed on our website, above the fold, the main thing you saw was a video, a cool little image about the product and the service and the free value we're providing to you in the 4-part video training and the PDF downloads. And then ultimately you gave us your email most likely through that entry point to watch these videos because we were able to capture your information by providing you value. So have that for your own business. This is something, again, we dive deep on VIP days and help you create exactly what that lead capture should be, where you can put it, how you can draw ads to it, how you can put it on your website so that it becomes irresistible. So you, like the customers you want, will give you their information because you're providing them such incredible value. Then after that, you have a nurturing funnel, as you've probably received some great value-added emails from us. And maybe you're in other people's emails as well. The nurturing funnel is essential because most people, for example, there's a statistic and it's like 2 to 3% of people, 2 to 3% of people in any given industry are ready to buy now. Approximately 17 to 20% of people in any given industry are ready to buy in somewhere around 30 to 90 days. And then the majority of your target audience, 80%, approximately, is ready to buy sometime in the next year or longer. So without having a nurturing funnel in place, you're probably going to miss out on the people that are ready to buy 17 to 20% in the next 30 to 90 days. And if you're really good and you're playing at the pro level and you're skilled and you have a really amazing nurturing funnel, you're nurturing these people for life. And then you're capitalizing on the 80%. Ultimately, though, your funnel should be capitalizing on the 2 to 3% ready to buy now, having a simple nurturing funnel in place for 30 to 90 days to get those next 20%. And then if you want to play at the pro level and we can help you do this, you build out a nurturing funnel for literally for life. And it helps get the 80% of clients that are ready to buy sometime in the next year or so. Qualification and conversion processes are simple. Ultimately, having your website, you don't want people to just be able to buy your products or services. Now, it sounds counterintuitive. Yes, of course you do. But if you have high-level products and services, one of the best ways to get people to buy it is ultimately to see if they qualify. And out of integrity, you should want to make sure the right person, the person who you created your product for, is only the person who buys it, not just anybody who can afford it or thinks they maybe want it, but you're very clear about who you work with, why you work with them, and then you have a process of talking to somebody on the phone, filling out a qualification form or a survey to make sure that they're the right fit. Conversion processes, guys, are super simple. You can automate these. You can automate this whole process. And ultimately, a great conversion process is when somebody speaks to somebody on the phone. Ultimately, you want to build your business in a way that makes you be out of these processes because you have other people and systems in place so that you can go and travel the world and have the time freedom that you want because the financial structure, foundation, and systems and team is in place for your personal brand and for your business. So the sales and the marketing is automated and works without you. Again, sounds like a dream, and this is something that we help people with. This infrastructure is for you to be executing now and then ultimately learn how to execute more of these things as we're going to touch on moving ahead here. So you get really clear on exactly how you can build a personal brand with sales and marketing strategies and tactics wrapped around it. So there's a direct return on investment to building your personal brand. This isn't just for hype. This is just to get out there and be more aware of what you're doing and who you are and why you do what you do and add value. But you actually have sales and marketing strategies and tactics and systems in a team built in, wrapped around your personal brand, so you can clearly have a path to making money. And you're not just investing time, energy, and money in building a personal brand and launching it and monetizing and scaling it, but you're really making a lot of money and having a lot of impact and influence in the process. Facebook page, guys, this is crucial. A Facebook page is much different than a Facebook profile in the sense that your Facebook profile, which is probably something you already have, is where you get friend requests. And once you hit 5,000 friend requests, then you've hit your limit, and then everybody becomes a follower from there. A Facebook page, this may sound basic for some of you if you already know what this is, but a Facebook page, for those of you that don't know, is basically where you can get likes. So you can have 2 million, 20 million, or 20,000, or maybe in your case, just starting off with 0 to get started, 0 likes up to infinite amount of likes. And the problem with that is you can have 100 million likes / followers on your page, personal page or business page, but you can't reach really almost a fraction of any of them because the algorithm is set up in such a way that even if you have 10 million followers and you post something, you may only get a couple hundred people or a couple thousand people to see it, like it, comment, and share. And the problem with that is if you don't know how to do what we're going to tell you how to do, which is spending at least $1 a day to boost targeted content to these people and other targeted audience to build your engagement, then a Facebook page becomes pretty much worthless. So we're going to tell you how to capitalize and make a Facebook page one of your most valuable assets. Ultimately, you need to revamp your social media. All your social media needs to be congruent to your new personal brand. Change the pictures, change the cover photos, change everything on it, delete old content, delete old pictures and videos, revamp the whole thing so that it's all congruent to your Facebook page, your social media, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever you're on, all needs to be congruent so that when anyone finds you, it's the same you everywhere. Ultimately, your perception, congruent on every platform, boosting for $1 per day. We're going to get into that in a second. I said here you want to change your cover photo, get professional headshots done for a couple $100, or have a friend do it and edit it somewhere so it looks professional. Change your posts, put links to your website or whatever you have on your pages on all Facebook and all social media. The boosting for $1 per day, guys, in a nutshell, we're going to get more into this later, is basically when you post something on your Facebook page, it'll say boost in the bottom right, boost. What that means is when you press boost, ultimately, it's going to pop up and say, do you have your credit card information put in? Where do you want to target this content, this video, this link, this picture, image, whatever it is. You can literally pay to put and boost anything to anyone. The key here is once we've figured out these hotspots and distribution hotspots, we now know some of the different targeting that we can start capitalizing on for our Facebook page and our boosted posts. Ultimately, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to have, as we get down to here into the content section, you're going to want to have lots of short 10, 30, 60-second video clips of you just adding value, educating your target audience on all different places you can target them. And for a minimum of $1, it could be $100 a day, it could be $1 million a day, but for a minimum of $1 a day, you need to be and should be and will be capitalizing on video posts, article posts, which we'll talk about how you can get featured in Forbes, Inc., Entrepreneur, Fast Company, Huffington Post, Wall Street Journal, and every publication, radio, TV, podcast you want to be featured in. We'll tell you how you can do that. The $1 per day strategy works for all of those. No matter what you have that's educational and value added for your audience, you post it on your Facebook page for a minimum of $1 a day or more for as long as you want. Set it and forget it. You want to do $60 for 60 days? Great. Put it on there, and for every single day for 60 days for $1, you'll be reaching hundreds, potentially thousands of people a day for just $1. Content down here, 60-second videos. Make sure on this page you've downloaded the PDF that shows you what the 60-second video template looks like. It's broken into 4 parts. It's a 60-second video template, so you can create 60-second video clips that are pure value, that hook your audience right off the bat, ignite pain and fire within them to have to take action, give them a little taste of the solution, and then tell them what to do next. Again, download that. You can see what the framework looks like, and that'll help you start filming and developing these 60-second videos. Don't worry. If you're not comfortable on camera, you can get somebody else to do this for you, but ultimately you, like me, have to get started at some point. I wasn't always good on camera. My first hundreds of videos were terrible, but the exciting thing is, like any new venture and project, you've got to get started. You've got to take the first step, and you'll look back in a few months and a few years laughing. I can't believe I put that video content out there. I did the same thing But if you don't get started now, then you're never going to hit the true potential of the income, impact, and influence you can have with a personal brand. So get over it, get on camera, get on stage, put yourself out there, and start getting used to being on camera. 60-second videos, quote cards, which is your quotes or somebody else's quotes with your company or your name or your website on there, or your Instagram tag or your Facebook tag. Quote cards is just a cool picture with a cool quote from you or somebody, some famous person, and then ultimately tag yourself or your website on there. Interviews, an incredible way to get your content out there. Being interviewed by people on radio, TV, podcasts, YouTube channels, anywhere. Interviewing people, another incredible way to get your content out there. Boosting, we talked about that. Trends, if there's the election happening or a holiday happening or something going on in the world where there's a trend or content or topics or New Year's resolutions, you need to be jumping on these trends, as silly as it may seem, as noisy as it is with everyone else doing it. It works. Guys, you've got to do it. When there's a trend coming up in the world, you need to create something around it, but don't be deviating over here if it doesn't have anything to do with it. Make sure that it's congruent to your values, your brand, and your content, but figure out a unique spin that you can put on it. It creates a lot of buzz, it creates a lot of hype, and it'll get a lot of people to jump on this content of yours. Controversy, another thing, back to the trends, right? If you can see something that's controversial, find a way to not like come in and hammer it. Some people will say, just be who you are and get into controversial topics. That works. If that's you, great. I think creating controversial topics is good. Like New Year's resolutions, here's an example. That's a trend, but the controversy might be like, here's why all the New Year's resolution stuff you're hearing is bullspit. And then ultimately from there, you're creating some controversy around a trend. Resonate. Make sure the content resonates. Big mistake a lot of people make is they're just putting out content and they're not seeing if it resonates. The way you'll know if it resonates is, are you getting a lot of likes, comments, and shares for how many views you're getting? If you've ever experienced posting a video and see that it gets 10,000 views, but a couple dozen likes or comments or shares, it's not a very good thing. If thousands or tens or hundreds of thousands of people are seeing it, you should be getting a good proportion of likes, comments, and shares in proportion to the amount of views. Make sure you guys download the PDFs that go with this to help you figure out how to really map all this out. So you're not just listening to me, but you're really taking the time to map this out for yourself. Because if you don't do this, as simple as it sounds, you're never really going to benefit in the full way that you can. It was beneficial for me to go through this stuff again just because it helped me remember, oh, this is some stuff we haven't maybe looked at or refined in a few months or even longer. And so ultimately you, like me, and everyone else out there playing at the pro level, you want to constantly be tweaking and testing your content and all of this process as we go through the next videos as well. Last thing, guys, generating traffic. You can buy it, you can borrow it, you can create it, and the $1 per day helps you do all three. Again, the $1 per day is boosting on Facebook for a minimum of $1 for your targeted audience to see different content you have. Buying traffic is radio, TV, magazines. It could be so many different ways you can buy traffic. Facebook ads, Google ads, there's so many ways you can buy it. Borrowing traffic, joint ventures, affiliates, host beneficiaries, doing interviews. There's so many ways you can align yourself with somebody else's target audience that's the same as yours and essentially borrow their traffic. Creating traffic. You can create amazing content and then have so many people see it and they share it with their friends and they share it with their friends. It's like an old saying, if your content's so good that only a few people see it, you'll know it's really good if those people bring their people who bring their people who bring their people. And so if you have something that's really that special, people should start talking about it. Some businesses, you ask them, what's your most powerful marketing? They say it's just word of mouth. And that's essentially what we're talking about here by creating traffic. If your stuff is that good, your content, your products, your services, your experiences you create for people, people will bring more traffic, meaning you're creating traffic for free just by word of mouth. Again, buy it, borrow it, create it. You need to master or hire people that have mastered the ability to buy you targeted traffic and be able to convert it at a higher price than you acquired it for. You need to get good at borrowing and creating traffic as well. We dive deeper on all these. We help you create strategies and tactics around buying, borrowing, and creating in our VIP days. And as we get into monetizing and scaling your personal brand in video 3 and 4, we get much deeper into buying, borrowing, and creating traffic for your business. Again, guys, to sum this up, hang out hotspots, figure out what your audience is, figure out where people, products, services, events, companies, social media, podcast publications can distribute your content and offers to your target audience. Have a strong website, capitalize on the Facebook page and the $1 per day strategy to boost content. Get really clear on your content. Guys, nowadays, anything longer than 60 seconds is probably not being watched to the very end. So create short content, and what you want is to have such short, valuable content people ask you for more, that's when you know you've got good stuff. And then generating traffic, as we just talked on. Buy it, borrow it, create it. You need to be doing all three, but you need to master buying it, and we can help you guys do that. I hope launching your personal brand is something that you are committed to. And again, if you guys want to take this serious and you want to find out what a VIP day looks like with us, we talk about that more in the upcoming videos as we help you work through monetizing and scaling your personal brand. If you have any questions, reach out to us or our support team. Make sure you comment below and tell us, what did you learn from this? What was the most valuable thing that you took away from this section? Comment below. I'll personally respond to any one of you that comments below because I want to engage with you. I want to know what you liked about this. What would you have changed? What questions do you have about this? We're here to support you on your journey of building and scaling and monetizing your personal brand to be world class. And we know thousands of you are going to be coming through this. Our goal is ultimately to help 100,000 of you. But as we start to ramp this up, I want to see your feedback in the comments below so we can serve you better. Guys, I hope this was valuable, and we'll see you in video 3.